YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look what we've got here. It's an omp-bm Bushmaster. This thing is huge, amazing. And we equipped ours with some neat features. But this is legit, super high quality. We had a couple of different cool things we wanted. Of course, we got takeoff flaps, we got landing flaps. We have different crow settings. And if you want, we also have elevator correction and compensation. We have stabilization. We don't have auto level on this because we used a Lemon RX receiver, which you'll see in the video. But we are supporting flaperons, which is pretty cool. And as you can see, high quality servos on the bottom. We had to reverse that one, which is an interesting and unique circumstance. We haven't had to do that on camera forever. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this monstrosity down on the ground. It's a little bit large and hard to handle, but it is real balsa wood and super well built. I love the way this thing feels. I love the way the thing looks. I love the exhaust ports on the front, on the cowl. Love the clear windows. Love the looks of it. Didn't love all the decals, so we only put a few on there. Well, you put all but like the tail decal. And without further ado, just doing our final control surface test. Still roll authority even in crow. And yes, we can just deploy spoilers if you want. Steerable tail wheel assembly and build went super, super quick and super easy. Very good ground handling. That is awesome.
That is crazy.
Look how big that surface is. Oh my goodness. And this thing is equipped with a gigantic Sunny Sky prop and motor. So the power system is amazing. And here we go. So take off flaps. Get into the throttle about 10% out of the takeoff flaps. Oh man, that thing, I'm at like 8% throttle, guys. Look at this.
Wow.
That is amazing.
That's great.
That Lemon RX is just doing wonders for us. No issues whatsoever. And look at how gorgeous that thing is. 100% throttle. Holy cow, that thing is crazy. Guys, it feels absolutely rock solid, folks. Okay, going into the bowl. Camera crew, let's go over by the bowl. Perfect, right there. Take off flaps. Got to get down by the tree so you can see it. This white plane is gorgeous, and I don't want you guys to not see it. Riding the throttle, lots of rudder, full landing flaps here. We're gonna go on the inside, you stay put there. Okay. Guys, I haven't even given it one click of trim. Okay, out of the flaps all together. And we have a voltage alarm beeping on us because I was getting into the power so hard. That thing feels so rock solid. Okay, let's go about 20 steps toward the driveway there, camera crew. If you could just work your way up there. Perfect, just keep going. Full landing flaps. This time crow, full crow. Look at that thing come down. Out of the crow. That's not even 50% stick, guys. Look at that. That thing is just incredible. I'm on the maiden flight like 1.5 minutes in and I'm already doing hammerheads with this thing. What an amazing plane. We can take off flaps. Full landing flaps here. We're gonna slow it down for you. Real slow pass here, right on the edge of a stall. As you can see, I found it right at the end. Now I gotta say, this thing has some crazy power. It screams.
Looks amazing.
Even with that huge rigid body, you can get that thing to roll super fast. Wow, that is quite the cornhole. I didn't even want to continue. I was afraid I was going to break the airframe apart. I bet you didn't expect that weird S-curve there.
I did not.
It's an unusual final, but whatever. Okay, so today we're flying this on 3200 6S Smart Pack. Full landing flaps for this crazy turn. Guys, I gotta say, I could probably put that pack back just a hair. Or even just forward a hair. It'd be fine either way. But I mean, guys, look how absolutely fantastic this thing is flying. I haven't even touched my master gain on the Lemon RX 7-channel with stabilizing receiver. This is not the DSM-P that I'm not fond of. It is the DSMX, but then it's just got the stabilizer in it. And so basically you can also get from Lemon some receivers that are DSM-P. They have made their own protocol that does auto leveling as well. Okay, so coming in, we're gonna get over this berm and then, oh my goodness, wow. Did you see it just plop down? That was hilarious. Okay, obviously the flight is not done. 4 minutes 24 left on the flight. So we're gonna go out of our flaps, out of our crow, obviously. We're gonna do a no flap takeoff here just to show you that, about 25% throttle there and just rolling right out of it and looking, that thing just carries so much power. Up and over. That's crazy fast. There is no way you couldn't fly this on 4S and be totally happy, folks. Full landing flaps coming in. Let's crow this thing down and watch it slow. Look at that thing. Getting into the power hard. 50% throttle. Look at that weird flight characteristics, awesome. Now, ordinarily what I do with my spoiler-ons is I will mix them into the flap mode. Need just a teeny tiny bit of up trim on the nose because I'm having to ride the stick on those higher speed passes, which, guys, I just don't think this plane needs to do speed like that, to be honest, to be amazing. That's why I'm saying you could totally do this on 4S, 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp hour, and have just an amazing experience. It comes with an XT60, so I did admittedly build an adapter to reach a little bit further. It's kind of short. What do you think of this one, camera crew?
It looks amazing.
It really does. And I love the power, because with power comes security, and with power comes capability. You guys, look at this. Just like how tight of an area you could fly it in if you really wanted to. You know, you could fly it in a 50 by 50 by 50 cube and stay there all day. I mean, it would be not very fun because you'd be really on it. Look at that contrary rudder and aileron, just to get it to tight turnability. Going into some higher alpha here. We'll see if we can bring that around. I moved my windsock just a hair. It was over the fence line here the other week, and then we had problems with the ground was still frozen low, so we couldn't get the stake in the ground. Let's try this again, because that's just really fun. That's 50%, that is incredible. You wanna talk about giving yourself confidence? If you're at 50% stick on your throttle, we took out the bug zapper pole. We actually upgraded that here the other day so we could have it mounted to the side of the house when it gets warm again. And so now we don't have to worry about hitting that now. And then we made some extra little windsocks. My daughter helped sew those up from broken windsocks, which is super cool. We've just been having all sorts of fun. And then as you can see, we had a little bit of snow recently. I about hit the bank there. And I must say that is some heavy, hard snow. So if I do hit the bank, it's gonna break this plane. I don't care what plane we hit it with, it's gonna break it. Yeah. A lot of throttle on those tight turns, folks. But I just feel like I could go forever with this plane. Into the takeoff flaps now. We were in the landing flaps for about the last 3 passes. Just come up over this berm, just barely. And that is just, I'm like whacking it to the ground way too hard, but the landing gear seemed fine with it, which is just not good on the gear. But to be honest with you, it's not been a problem so far. Love that the leading edge is darkened so you can see it in that contrasting color. If it was a sunny, blue sky day, this thing would be easier to see, admittedly. And if there was LEDs, I gotta say, quick release wings, which is amazing for a big old plane. Okay, full landing flaps. Let's see if we can grease one in here. See, just not able to grease it very good. And I'm janking it to slow it down. And look, we didn't even make it to us.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna show you guys something. This thing is like gonna take off in almost no distance at all. Watch this. We have the death machine here up against that icy knoll there, or icy. We're at our timer. Okay, so here goes nothing. Oh yeah, there. I was out of the throttle before I even get off the edge of the, before I even got off the edge of the driveway there. And it's so like hyper active on delivery of power. Okay, I wanna see how this does upside down. Yeah, upside down with flaps on, it's really, really not that floaty. Okay, take off spoiler setting. Let's do spoilers only, spoiler-ons. Whoa, that was weird. Talk about a weird flight characteristic. You guys see what I did there? Very strange. Now, I do have a harder time getting to my C switch, which is where I put those in. And so as a result, actually, I'm gonna take off here because it's a lot easier than trying to taxi it back. Seriously. Might as well be lazy in a cool way. So 6S on a Gen 1 3200 Smart Pack from Spectrum. Oh, buddy, retracts. So guys, that is one of the biggest screw ups I've had in a while. And I totally just plowed that without a plow. Pretty sure I screwed this plane up bad. Let's go check the damage. So as you can see, we have the retracts were very effective. They have completely retracted themselves. We have half of the elevator here, and we have the rest of the plane here. Super disappointed in myself, guys. This stuff is not soft, okay? Look, I can stand on it almost. It's not fluffy snow. It's the kind that you can pack really good. And I can't believe I just did that. That was such a dumb mistake. And yet it was such an awesome plane, so I'm really hating myself right this exact second. So just to be clear, when you do that, the plane's gonna be in pretty bad shape. Looks like the battery decided to dislodge itself forward. Throttle cut's already on, verifying that. The prop is actually okay. Looks like the tail broke free. Looks like the elevator control horn broke free. And the landing gear, oh, well, there's that too. So yeah, guys, that was a bummer because what an absolutely amazing plane. I really hope that you guys decide to get one of these, and I can't believe I just crashed this one. But the thing is, I gotta say, premium plane, don't crash it into stuff. It does not do well being crashed into things like hard, icy objects, which is true for most planes.
Yeah.
We've learned from experience. But guys, just what a bummer. I hate that I just crashed that thing. But I'm just looking, all this wonderful build and it's all destroyed because I screwed up. Oh, it just kills me. But you know what? Part of the hobby. If you're not crashing, you're not flying. And if you're flying, you're definitely going to eventually crash. But this thing is awesome, not a beginner plane. It's way too capable. But at the same time, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a trainer by any means, but I would definitely say that it could be used as an early plane if you want. What just happened there was just literally a pilot error, which sucks. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. I want to fly it more, so I'll probably end up fixing it. And you know what that means, camera crew? Yes, she does. Okay, so guys, if you haven't already, check out the links in the video description below. And we know that you'll do what we always ask you to do, which is to click the bell for notifications, like and subscribe, all those normal things. But if you want to help support us financially, buy the planes from the links in the video description below, buy the batteries, receivers, all that good stuff. You'll be supporting us and the people that support us, and everybody wins. So we know you guys will do it. Also, stay tuned. We've got our unbox, build, and radio setup coming right now. Or actually, it's not going to be on this video, but you can click it. There's a playlist that should come up in one of the corners, and you can just click that and check it out on your own time. So thanks for watching, guys. So much more from Brian Phillips, RC. Sorry we crashed your plane off. Hey, it's Brian Phillips. We got the Bushmaster reinvigorated and breathed new life into. And you're like, what life are you talking about, Brian? You just wait and see. Here goes nothing, guys. We're gonna take this off and we're gonna fly it like we stole it. We're just gonna watch out for, you know, things like snow berms and that sort of thing. We got a little crow action here. Take off flaps. We could do crow if we want, but we're not gonna do that for now. We're gonna take off as we speak. So folks, if you have giant berms of snow next to your runway, make sure you respect those. You'll understand why in our second flight. But here we go, take off. Flaps deployed. Whoa. Oh yeah, she's still gorgeous. Whoa. A little bit juicy. What a gorgeous day to fly. Okay, into the full landing flaps here. We're gonna get lined up with the trees. Might want to be ready to duck just in case. 3,200 6S right now. This thing is an amazing plane. We are out of the flaps altogether. You know, the funny thing is, it reminds me, oh, holy cow, I had my spoilers on that whole time. I was wondering why I was flying weird. Okay, here we go, guys. Spoilers are off now. Take off flaps, bring it around the bowl. Full landing flaps. Look at that thing, it just blends in perfectly with the snow, which is both amazing and terrible right now. So folks, I just wanted to come clean. You're already gonna know anyway in a few minutes, and probably from the thumbnail. But yes, I crashed this like a moron. I literally ran into one of my snow berms, and look how amazing it's flying already. That is the beauty of RC, is it's not like full scale. You don't have to worry about somebody dying because your repair sucked. You just repair it, give it a good test flight, and move on with life. Take off flaps, landing flaps. And yes, this took me about a bottle of CA to fix, a little bit of patience, some Q-tips, paper towels, and look how good it's flying already. Okay, camera crew, we're going to the bull. About 15 steps to your right, please. Nice and slow. We'll try to get the light behind us. It doesn't seem like much, but the sun is behind us now. It's cloudy.
What does this remind you of? You interrupted yourself.
I don't know. What does it remind me of?
I don't know.
Stay right there. I just love the way it flies. It's so good. I'm at like 30% throttle right now, guys. 20% now. Full landing flaps. 18, 20, 30% throttle there. And just absolutely gorgeous. Folks, what I did was, and you'll see it in the video, I came in, that was the tip of a stall at the top of that, because I'm just barely into my throttle, folks. If you don't believe me, look at this. I'm in a decent bank, and if you can see my, my throttle, what is it at, 40? So now if you're in level flight, you can back it off even more. Look at this, guys. Just amazing. A little bit of power. Okay, I need you on my right side. Out from the edge, please. Thanks. So guys, I love this Bushmaster. And even though I'm flying it like it's docile, it's not docile at all. The only reason I'm doing that is because I literally just fixed my elevator, and I just fixed the bottom of the fuse where the landing gear are. And so I told camera crew before we came out here, yes, her name's Megan. She's my wife. She's a good camera person. I told her, I said, well, I'm gonna have to grease my landing, otherwise the gear are gonna break off. I use bamboo skewers to replace a couple carbon fiber rods. So if the thing breaks, don't blame the plane. It's probably my bamboo skewers are a little bit weaker than the carbon fiber tubes that they used. This plane was super well built though. The landing gear were like one piece. You'll see. Okay, going into the loop, 100% throttle there, and then right down the runway. We are flying 11RX 7 channel with stabilization here, a little upside down flight. About 30–40% throttle there. Real light up on the stick. We'll just fall out of it here and just bring it straight down. Beautiful. Take off flaps, landing flaps. Want to slow it down just a little bit. Going up and over, just so we don't hit our new windsock location. If you guys were wondering, those are not windsocks actually. They're called kite tails. Okay, now when we get down the runway, I'm gonna go ahead and, spoilers. Full crow. Look at the attitude of the aircraft. Isn't that weird? Okay, you can keep flying just like normal though. Okay, there's our warning. And we're at 3 minutes 17, it's cold, on our 8-minute flight. But the thing I can tell you guys, full landing flaps coming in here, the thing I can tell you is that this 6S power is so much juicier than it needs to be. And I haven't hardly demonstrated it in this flight, but you'll see when you watch the crash flight next, because we have better lighting, and it was a good flight. One thing about that approach is that I'm really struggling to see the landing gear. Camera crew, need you on my right, please. Thank you. No, just, here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna practice our final. And with no LEDs and stuff, the lighting is pretty low. But as you can see, we got a good landing, no big issues to write home about, and look how tight you can turn this thing. So the controllability is amazing on this plane. What happened in our first flight was complete pilot error, which is too bad because this thing is amazing. And I'm super annoyed now that I have crashed it. And since you already know that I've crashed it and you can tell it's kind of low light, we crashed, what, about like 3 o'clock or so? It's a Saturday, and it is late July, or excuse me, late January, it's not July. Yep. Late January. And so basically what we have is a very short day ahead of us. If you want to give them a couple of shots of this, just to show them, if you come back here, you can see where the elevator broke. And the elevator broke free as well, which I was thinking to myself and talking with the camera crew, if you guys stay tuned and watch the unbox build radio setup, you're gonna see that we only CA'd the tail on. And guess what? If we would have epoxied the tail on or cut the covering film off, I guarantee you we would have ripped the back of the fuselage off. It would have been a total loss. So we lucked out on this. And this stuff, this snow here, we had a heavy snow, and I don't know if you can see the plow marks. This is about 3 days old. And granted, it's been cold. Look how hard this stuff is. This is like ice, okay? I mean, it actually is ice, but what happens is when it's really packy like that, if you come in and you catch any part of your wheels, it's just gonna jank you into the snow, and you're not, plus, look how hard it is to tell the difference between the edge of the snow and the behind it, because it absorbs the light or reflects it all at the same rate, so you have like no shadows. And so that's something that real pilots struggle with, and this pilot struggled with it today. So just amazing plane, love the way it flies, love how easy it went together with the exception of a couple of small details, namely in terms of the inboard flaps. One of the servos was not reversed. Now they should have reversed one, I think, or they should have included a reverse servo as an option, because you can't easily flip them in a balsa plane. Now, if it was a foam plane, you could flip them a little bit easier, but it's still a pain. And because they ran the servos straight down with the linkages going this way, there's no easy way to switch it. So, not a big deal. We just pulled it out. We show you how to do it in the video. You don't have to buy the adapter, but if you want, you can also go out and buy what's called a servo signal reverser, and it will literally take the output and change it. You're like, but Brian, why not just switch it in your receiver or your transmitter? Well, true, you could do that if you had enough independent channels, and then it's no big deal at all. You just do channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5, channel 6, channel 7, channel 8 controls for master gain. Yeah, it's never that easy, guys. Trust me. I've been doing this enough. I know what I'm talking about on that, and if you've ever watched me struggle through trying to do that, you'll understand. But what I can tell you is I wanted to share a channel because I wanted a standard wing type and I wanted crow. But I wanted to be able to distinguish between the two, and you can slow this thing down. It is a big plane, and look how short of a landing strip you can use. Also, it will take off about as quick as it comes. So, really happy with this. This may end up coming up as a second video. I don't know, camera crew. Our first flight was pretty dang good. It
was really good.
So, I don't know if you guys are seeing this first.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but I don't know if you guys are seeing this first or second, but I love the Bushmaster. It flies phenomenally. It's impeccable in its flight performance. I actually can't believe how well it survived the crash, and that's, I know some of you guys are thinking, are you gonna show us the repairs? The answer is no. No, because I don't really do anything special on balsa, to be honest. I just glue it all back together, and I literally just taped my covering film, and we took an iron and just kind of ran it by here.
Yeah.
And unless you're looking for it, you won't know. And the landing gear are sturdy. There's 2 big beams that go through here that would have been a carbon fiber support. They're about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, or maybe just, they might have been 1/4 inch. So whatever metric that is. And they were hollow tubes. I took them out, used a bamboo skewer that was almost the same size, and I just built up a bunch of CA all the way through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 supports. And you'll understand, it's not a big deal, but really at the end of the day, I love the way this plane flies. It's structurally sound still after that little endeavor. And then we will show you also in this video how we built our little stabilizer tray in there. Well, we at least go over it. I built this out of garbage, and it's accessible so I can pull this out of here if I need to make changes. Now, we did use the Lemon RX 7-channel with stabilization. and we didn't glue in our shelf liner, but it worked just fine. Just a little piece of shelf liner. And honestly, the only time it breaks free is when you crash into something subject to enough G-force that it slides the battery out, which in our case, it slid forward. And so the first thing you want to do, of course, in that event is check your battery, make sure it's unplugged, make sure everything's safe, and then start digging in the snow for parts. And we collected, I would say all but like maybe 5% of the little pieces of balsa.
And there really weren't that many pieces.
No, it was like 6 or 7 big
worse.
pieces, and then there was probably like 10 small pieces.
Yeah.
And even here, not too long ago, we had crashed what would have been the SU-27 that was opposite the J11, same thing. We had a linkage go bad on that. This was 100% pilot error. I just literally ran into a bank of snow. Like, you can't do that with planes, guys. I hate to break it to you. So even the indestructible ones, you can't do that too. But I love this plane. It flew phenomenally. I love the power. I think it would probably do okay with a bigger battery. You could probably put a 5006S in there. You're just gonna have to be mindful of where you get it for CG. And they've given us a really generous area in there to actually put that battery. So I love it when they look good. I love it when they sound good. I hate it when I crash beautiful planes. It's one thing when you crash, you know, certain types of planes and they end up in the garbage can, it's not such a big deal. But this one, it kind of breaks my heart when I do that, because every time I go back to it, I'm gonna realize it's got that damage on the bottom. It'll remind me how stupid I was that day. The good news is, you won't really know unless you know, and I just told you. And we don't hide stuff on Brian Phillips RC. In general, we just wanna share the whole experience, what we thought of the plane, and the best way you guys can help us is just buy these things when you like them. Follow the links. BPRC me, is that ready yet?
It's coming out.
It's coming out soon. So BPRC me, so bprc.me. It's just a link shortener that we're using. It's gonna be a little easier for us because when people change links, it's almost impossible to keep up with.
Yep.
Because we have literally thousands of videos. And you're like, what's such a big deal about updating thousands of videos? Yeah, it's a big deal. It'll take us like a month to do. So we don't want to have to keep doing that. And so we're going to try this. We'll see how it works. And if you guys want to support us, you can also navigate over to brianphillipsrc.com, which is also our domain. And you can see what we have to offer there, which is basically just organizing the videos on this, which is our primary platform, YouTube. If you guys are seeing anything on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, whatever, we don't do a ton on the other platforms. We just basically point you back to where you are here. And that's where we want you on YouTube, because we do long format, detailed reviews of amazing RC aircraft, RC cars, trucks, quads, VTOLs, leaf blowers, weed whackers, little chainsaws, big chainsaws, all those things, tractors.
Tractors.
We do a lot of stuff. It's basically, if I enjoy it and if Megan tolerates it, then we do it.
We do it.
But mostly what we do is aviation. And at some point we're gonna roll in a little bit more PPG, but it's been kind of wintry these days. So we're waiting until I won't have to die in the air from freezing to death, because now we've got the power lines down. And that's incidentally a big part of the reason why we did these things, is so that we could have wind indicators in 3 different positions on the property. Depending on where the wind's blowing, you'll have to land in different spots with powered paragliding, which is like where you strap a big fan on your back and you have a parachute, which it's called a wing, and you just like intentionally fly into the air with it. And no, you're not on Jackass the movie 3 or something like that. You're just doing it because you think it's awesome.
Super smart.
So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, we'll be doing some of that at some point. And I'm no expert on it, just like I wasn't an expert on this when we started. And now I'm just kind of like a baby expert, really small, only because I've done it a million times. So an expert in my own mind, how about that?
Okay.
But I do crash a lot into snow, and I was literally talking about it in the video just minutes before I did it. So I was really just trying to be right.
Just prove your point.
I was. Prove my point.
I'm pretty sure I said that earlier this afternoon too.
But I love this plane. It's awesome. omp-bm did a nice job on this. The Sunny Sky electronics have been really good. The ESC performed flawlessly as far as I can tell. My only complaint on this plane is the reversed servo. It should have been reversed. We showed how to do that in a video. It's a little bit of a pain, but you can do it. If you have a soldering iron, you have basic skills, you can do it. If not, you can spend about 10 bucks for a pair of them. Maybe we'll link to that, camera crew, in the video,
okay,
just so people can find it. But otherwise, huge, wide range of battery packs you can put into this thing. There was a couple other like minor gripes, not the least of which is the fact that there's noticeably no LEDs. Yeah. Now, a lot of balsa planes don't have LEDs, and I don't know why that is. It seems to me it would be just as easy to do that in a balsa wood plane as it would be in a foamy. And this is a high price point. but at the same time, you don't have to do it. These are quick release wings. You can tap the power that goes into any of your servos, the positive and negative, and then just carry out the voltage. And you won't need a current limiting resistor if you do that. And you can put some nav lights on there. It would have been super helpful tonight in this later flight where the light has been really on the tail end of light. You drop down behind these trees and it's just like once you go from light with backlight to trees with nothing, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful. Like we have such a calm night, we can pick whichever side we want. And so when we point from down here, we have trees. If we point from down here, we have trees. But if you final in, you can stay above the trees and then make your final and give yourself a limited amount of exposure. But just any planes, especially with a leading edge that's blue like this, even when you have good forward light, it tends to shadow the wing. So LEDs would resolve that. Now they do offer this in a couple of different finishes too. I don't know what all's in stock. So just follow our link. You can see what's in stock at the time you're deciding to buy it. But I love this plane. It is amazing. Yeah. And it is really good. We've had a lot of, at this point, we've done what, like 7 or 8 really like high quality balsa wood models.
Yeah, probably.
And it's not an ARF, it's a plug and play, but I believe you can also get it as an ARF.
You can.
So if you wanted to like throw in an avian ESC for thrust reverse and stuff, which to be honest with you, thrust reverse would be nice on the water because this could be easily converted, I believe, into a float style plane and it would look amazing. And by the way, this thing will do all the 3D and hammerhead, all that stuff if you want. It's just not, that's not my style of flight. So if you guys like watching me fly the general aviation stuff, that's what I usually do. If it's a straight up 3D plane, I try to do a little bit more 3D, but I just don't think I'm that good at it. So I love flying scale replica style planes, and this thing it just gets the juices flowing for me. So it was an amazing build and had to wait for some weather. And so it just kills me to wait. I'm really bad at it. It's like probably the worst thing in my entire life that I do. So thank you guys for being part of this amazing experience. I assume you're gonna be seeing this video second now that I've thought about it. And so you may see that little clip where we promised where we'd show you that receiver tray. And if you have questions about it, leave it in the comments below. It's super simple. We just couldn't figure out where to put it. And I didn't want to drop it down by the battery. I didn't want to extend lines. I didn't want to have a million hours of cable management. And I certainly didn't want to waste my time doing anything too fancy. So I just built that little tray out of garbage. And we talk about it a little bit in the video following this. And if you guys want to watch the Unbox Build radio setup, the whole thing, then there's a link to that in the playlist. And the playlist should be popping up anytime soon here as we kind of do our exit. And that is, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications. Subscribe if you haven't already. I don't know why you haven't subscribed. If you like this, you're in the right place. If you didn't quite like this and you want a little bit more jet action or you want a little bit more like brand new pilot action, we do those things too. And if you want a little more intense, crazy, almost illegal, dangerously speedy flight, we do that too. And we just do all sorts of different things, and we do some helicopter things, and we do all sorts of VTOLs, and you know, everything that you can fly, we pretty much do on this channel. And we love it all for different reasons. And that's why we don't say cheapest, fastest, longest, best, whatever. This plane is a great plane. It is excellent. I love it. It is very good. It's not the best plane ever. Neither is the last one we reviewed, and neither is the next one. It's very good, and I love it, but it's not the best. There is no best. The best plane is the plane I'm flying right now. And that's just kind of the way it is when you start getting into the echelon of storage space wasted by airplanes that we are in, which is thousands of square feet. So we love them, but they all have different applications.
Everybody has a different wish list.
Different taste, different sizes, different conditions that they're good in. This thing is gonna be an amazing everyday flyer. And the wings do come off easy, but you're not gonna wire it the way I did it if you wanna take those wings off. You wanna leave some extra slack in there. I zip tied mine up on a carbon fiber spar. Beautiful build, you'll love it. Definitely check it out, guys. And thanks for watching. All right, YouTube, so I promised you at the end of our unbox build radio setup, which kind of went on a little longer than expected on this omp, I wanted to show you what I did in here, and I'm just gonna point out one thing. I broke this when I was working, and so I used some wood glue to fix it. I just wanna point out these things. That's not uncommon. I was screwing around in here, and so I twisted and broke it. If you ever break something like that, use wood glue if you can first, and I just have it shimmed up with some cardboard to hold it tight rather than putting a clamp in here because the clamp is gonna be in my way. I just have to remember to pull out the little cardboard there. Okay, so if you ever have an opportunity, I mean, CA is fine to fix stuff like that, but you wanna use wood glue where you can. Wood glue is stronger It's just sort of unusual. You don't think about using wood glue, but this is like a structural support, and it goes in here and braces on a really commonly used spot. So CA is brittle, and especially on this type of plywood rather than balsa. The balsa soaks it in and it does a really good job on it, but this wood glue will help. Now, getting to the point, I wanted to show you guys this. I did end up building an XT60 connector on here, and you can see it's really hard to unplug, which is what you want. And I used one of these IC5 device ends. They call it a device end, okay? And then it goes to an XT60 battery end. And you're like, well, why didn't you just replace this end? You can see why. I'm having to hold it to reach. So that extra 4 inches makes all the difference in the world. So guys, if you haven't already done it, you might want to think about it on this model. The ESC lead is just not long enough for this large of a cavity, but it's okay because it worked out perfectly. I was using IC5 ends like this. Obviously you don't need an IC5 end because we're not using the smart telemetry and all that, but you could just as easily take out your ESC and do that if you chose to do it. And then you could throw in thrust reverse to do pretty cool. Now that being said, you wouldn't have a channel in this configuration for that. So you'd have to lose one of these functions. And I'm not really sure you can use an AV and ESC in tandem with a Lemon RX receiver because you may not have the channel to command that function. So just keep that in mind because it goes through a serial bus, I think, on the ESC line. So you would then be married to using an AR620 with no safe or AS3X, or going over to an AR631 minimum. 630 doesn't have the intent to be nice with the end pins, but I just don't think it's gonna work well in this application. The thing to be super nice about that, and I gotta point this out, you could stick that anywhere in here and avoid this huge cluster that I had to do. And this is something I've forgotten about working with Lemon because it's been so long. I used to make trays like this all the time. Now this is removable, but as you can see, I can lift up the plane by that. Now it moves and flexes a little bit. Who cares? You're not gonna lift up the plane by it, but I just wanna demonstrate it's strong. It's held in there tight. It's not gonna kick and go at an angle. And by the way, if that were to happen, guess what would happen? You would lose. Stabilization would start acting weird. You'd shut it off with the gear switch. You're in full control. You just don't have stabilization. So you'd probably land and figure out what happened. But just to show you, this thing was hard to get into this position. I have a brace. Yes, that's a pump pickup from a lotion bottle. This is holding my diversity antenna at a 90 degree. The other one's just shooting straight out like that. And I can take this, I can get out there, I can service it, all the cool things that I want. And the thing is, I have enough room to get batteries in and out now, which is nice. This is the 3200. My 4000 is sitting here charged. It was charging. So I can definitely fit this in here either direction. I have room to get an arm in and manipulate things. It's not gonna be quite as good as before, but to be frank, it was either that or ride it all the way down to on top of the pull connection there, which as you can see, it's hard to even film because you'd be sitting right on top of that magazine. I'm not talking about next to it. I am talking about on top of it. And that's why I was using plastic and not balsa wood. And so this is what I used. This is what I had lying around. It's kind of got this weird ridges on it and everything. And I used double thick. It was shaped like the screen of a scale indicator. I work on scale indicators for a living, so I get this weird stuff once in a while. It's just like leftover garbage. And I keep it because I'm a hoarder. So anyway, I also had this like Q-tip container that I thought might work well because it's got enough stiffness to it, but it wasn't quite as sturdy as this. And this is slick. So I said, God forbid I have to lay it on top of the pull. I've got slickness instead of resistance. So you have to use all of your brain power to figure out how to make your little garbage tray. Or just cut some balsa and glue it in there and make a proper tray. But to be frank, you could also just put that down there. It's just I didn't have enough length on my wires, and I said, okay, my choice is to lengthen all the wires, to just arbitrarily run it down and then tie up a bunch of extra wire, which adds weight and complexity. Or alternatively, I can just find something that gives me serviceability for future use, and I can use garbage to accomplish it. And a few zip ties, admittedly a few 4-inch zip ties. And then I used this screwdriver and I heated up in our, you can see how it's got schmutz on the end there. I heated up in the stove and I just pierced it through periodically where I wanted to put zip ties through. It was about as simple as it gets. And then I heated up the tip of these pliers, and everywhere I wanted to, I used too thick of this. I just went like this, melted it, and it's just kind of, it's like those cluster packs that make people want to, take and, finish it off. If you ever have to open one. But it's the exact same technology that I used here, which is, well, I didn't ultrasonically weld it, I heat welded it. And it worked really nice. So I've got plenty of strength. I've got a little bit of vibration isolation, which is what you want. And I've got a place to put antennas in all sorts of different situations. I didn't know exactly how I was gonna do it. I did unbundle my wires just a little bit so I could get it in a certain situation. Worked really good. So anyway, we promised that we would show this. We're showing it now. It's the end of the video. You've seen this thing fly. It was glorious. There was no problems. I definitely didn't crash into a tree, the house, or anybody around. I hope. Because it'd be embarrassing now if that happened. But if I did, I'm really sorry to whoever had to go to the hospital. I'm really sorry about the fence or the house or the car in advance. But if none of that stuff happened, then we're good to go. But this thing is an awesome plane. I love putting it together. It was actually fun to do this off camera. You guys don't realize, but building these things on camera is work for me and my wonderful wife and camera crew. But this was fun. Thanks for giving us some flexibility to do that off camera. These little garbage work projects are just kind of almost embarrassing to share, but they do work really good. And honestly, we've done it for years like that. We've taken foam, we've built them out of cardboard. I had this little knife sharpener box. It was about this big. I said, maybe I can use that. I had a lot of different materials, and then I started just looking at what would happen. And I said, what's the best choice for the job? And so I got all that garbage, put it up on my counter, just worked through it. It was easy. It took me about an hour of frustrating disappointment, and now it's done and it works perfect. And it's in there very solid, to the point where I can get this out if I want. I have to twist it hard like this and it would come out. I can also undo zip ties and access my receiver. Now you could say, why don't you just Velcro it down there? You could, but then where do your antennas go? It's just there's always one thing or another that complicates your life in this hobby. And if you're not used to that and you don't want that, you're probably in the wrong hobby, because it's just gonna complicate your life. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing in my opinion, because it fills your life with all sorts of excitement and fun. And it's a wonderful hobby. So we hope you guys are gonna be here with us. And we hope that these little tidbits are going to be helpful to you as you advance through the ranks and catch up to us, or look way back and point and laugh from your position of authority and skill. But in the meantime, if you guys could just smash the like button, click the bell for notifications. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just do it. It doesn't cost you anything. And then also special thanks to our super thanks. I think we've gotten 2 so far.
Oh, yay.
Amazing. Thanks. I don't know why you did it, but thank you, whoever you are, people with money that thank us with it. But if you really want to do something super great, don't do Patreon, don't do PayPal, don't do super thanks. Buy the amazing aircraft that we talk about, because we want you guys to love this with us, not, give up and sacrifice so that you can help support our videos. Just do it with us. We love doing this stuff. We don't expect you to just watch us from the sidelines. We want you out there flying, crashing, fixing, flying, crashing, fixing right beside us on Brian Phillips RC. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. This thing was cool. Thanks to Omp, one of our new affiliates, so definitely check out the links. It's actually an old new affiliate. We had a relationship before, and then we just kind of lost contact. It was weird. Turns out somebody quit. So that was wonderful for us. So we didn't even screw the pooch. They just kind of forgot we existed. So at the end of the day, we love this thing. Amazing plane. You're gonna love it too. Check out the links in the video description below. That's the best way you can support us. But don't forget to like it on the way out. More to come from Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching.